Have you ever felt like you're shouting your truth into a void, hoping someone will finally hear you, only to be met with silence or dismissal? After 60, life teaches you that not every story needs to be told, not every pain needs to be explained, and not every dream needs to be shared. Some truths are too sacred to be spilled carelessly, and keeping them close can be your greatest act of strength. In this video, we're diving into 9 powerful truths you should keep to yourself. Not to hide, but to protect your peace and reclaim your power. I'm Gabriel, and I'm here to guide you through this journey of choosing silence with dignity. Stay until the end, because the final truth might just unlock a peace you've been searching for your entire life, giving you the clarity to live unapologetically on your own. Let's begin. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video, you can help me continue to share the valuable lessons of old age. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Have you ever caught that fleeting moment when you begin to share the weight of your physical struggles, only to notice your children's demeanor shift? Perhaps their eyes drift to the floor, their fingers instinctively reach for their phones, or their voices pivot to a lighter, less burdensome topic. This is no mere coincidence. It's a silent boundary, drawn not with words but with a subtle language of discomfort, a glance, a pause, a hurried change of subject. Some silences are imposed with the smallest gestures, carrying the unspoken message that certain truths are too heavy, too raw, to be held in shared space. Let me state this clearly as our first point. Your body, its aches, its frailties, its relentless reminders of time's passage, is not a topic your children are prepared to face. This isn't because they don't love you or because you're isolated in your experience. It's because your pain, your vulnerability, the visible where etched into your physical form, stirs a deep unease in them, an unease they may not even fully comprehend. We live in an era that recoils from discomfort, a world that prefers to sweep the messy realities of aging or suffering under the rug of distraction. Society celebrates youth, invincibility, and quick fixes, leaving little room for the profound humanity of a body that carries the marks of a life fully lived. Yet your body, with its creaking joints, its scars, its quiet rebellions, bears the truth of your journey every single day. You cannot escape it, nor should you feel compelled to hide it. The deepest tragedy isn't that your children shy away from these conversations. It's that you keep trying to bridge the gap. You recount the medications you swallow each morning, the sharp ache in your hip that steals your sleep, and the endless cycle of doctor's visits that punctuate your weeks. You do this not out of self-pity but from a quiet, aching hope, a hope that by laying your truth bare, someone will meet your gaze with compassion and say, "I see you. I'm here." More often than not, that moment doesn't arrive. Instead, you're met with a heavy, suffocating silence, a polite redirection to safer topics, or worse, a subtle insinuation that you're exaggerating, that your pain is somehow too much, too inconvenient. This isn't cruelty, though it may sound like it. It's a form of emotional avoidance, a reflection of a culture ill-equipped to sit with suffering. We live in a time that seeks to medicate, numb, or erase pain rather than walk alongside it with courage. Your body, a living testament to every trial and triumph, feels too human, too fragile, for others to confront. It mirrors their mortality, a truth they're not yet ready to face. I recall an image that lingers like a quiet ache, an elderly woman in a sterile hospital waiting room, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, her voice steady but deliberate as she recounts every symptom to her doctor with painstaking precision. Each word feels like a defense, as if she must justify her presence, prove that her body's complaints are valid, and that she deserves to be there. Beneath her meticulous explanations lies something deeper, a longing not just for physical relief but for recognition, for someone to see her not as a collection of ailments but as a person whose life still holds weight and meaning. This is the silent cry of so many who carry the burden of a body that no longer moves with the ease of youth. In the Christian tradition, we're taught that the body is a temple of the Spirit, a sacred vessel that houses the soul. But what happens when that temple begins to show its cracks? When its walls groan under the weight of years, when its foundation shifts with the inevitable wear of time? Do we hide its imperfections, apologize for its limitations, or feel shame for its changes? A wise voice, tempered by age and experience, once wrote that the body is simply part of life's natural cycle. We should neither dramatize its decline nor shrink from it in embarrassment. The body is not an idol to be worshipped, nor is it a tool to beg for attention or pity. It is a testament to survival, a map of every step you've taken, every storm you've weathered. Your body doesn't need defending, it demands respect. That respect begins with you, in how you care for it, in how you honor its changes without apology. But it also means recognizing when to stop offering it up as a topic for others to judge or dismiss. There is profound power in choosing silence with those who cannot hold space for your truth. Stop explaining your pain to those who turn away. Stop seeking comfort where only avoidance resides. Some battles are fought not with words but with the quiet dignity of carrying on, of tending to your body with resolve, of living with its changes without justification. Your strength lies not in forcing others to hear you, but in embracing your body as it is, caring for it as best you can, and choosing silence around those who refuse to listen. Your dignity isn't found in how you articulate your pain, it's in how you choose to navigate it, without surrendering your voice to those who cannot bear its weight. That is the difference between fragility and power. And you, even in your pain, remain undeniably powerful. As you learn to honor your body without turning it into a plea for validation, another weight often lingers, so subtle you might not notice its grip until it begins to suffocate. This brings us to our second key point. Stop explaining why you're still alone. Solitude, when chosen, is not a sentence but a sanctuary, a deliberate act of peace that you've carved out for yourself. Yet when others misunderstand it, it becomes a burden, unfairly placed on your shoulders, as if your aloneness is a flaw to be fixed. How many times have you faced that familiar question, delivered with a blend of pity and judgment thinly veiled as concern? So, are you thinking about finding someone? Or, why don't you try dating again? These questions carry an insidious assumption that being alone is a problem to solve, a condition to cure, a temporary phase only justified if you're actively seeking its opposite. But you are not incomplete. You are not waiting for someone to fill a void. You are not obligated to justify the life you've chosen to anyone. In the wisdom of philosophical traditions, the good life is one lived in harmony with your nature, aligned with the truth of who you are. If your nature finds solace in solitude, why should you be pressed to explain it? An ancient thinker, Marcus Aurelius, once wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you will ever dig." But digging within can be painful, especially when others look at you as if your solitude signals failure, as if a woman's worth is eternally tied to having someone by her side. This is not just unfair, it's a quiet kind of violence, a societal expectation that diminishes the power of your choice. Choosing solitude, particularly after years of pouring yourself into others, raising children, holding families together, sacrificing your desires, can be a profound act of liberation. There are women who no longer wish to negotiate over trivial matters, who refuse to trade their hard-earned peace for the sake of filling a role society deems acceptable. These are women who have earned the right to close their doors, savor the quiet ritual of a warm cup of tea, sleep without interruption, to think without needing anyone's permission. They have carried the weight of love, loss, and responsibility, and now they choose the freedom of their own space, the calm of their thoughts. Yet, when you voice this truth, it unsettles those around you. When you stand confidently in your solitude, without apology or sadness, you challenge the narrative that you're incomplete, that you're waiting for someone to fix you. Some need to see you as lacking, as pitiable, so they can feel needed, and they can maintain a sense of control over your story. But you don't need rescuing. You've already navigated abandonment, heartbreak, and the slow erosion of time. You've survived the moments when the world felt too heavy, and you've emerged with the strength to choose yourself. Think of the archetype of the hermit in spiritual traditions. Not a defeated soul retreating from the world, but a seeker stepping away to uncover her truth. Solitude, when embraced, is not a lack but a fullness, a sacred space where you meet yourself without fear. If your heart finds peace in your own company, if closing your door brings calm, if you've learned to be with yourself without loneliness, then you no longer need to convince anyone that it's enough. Release the need to explain. Your solitude is your temple, a sanctuary not everyone is invited to enter. You don't owe it. You don't need it. You are whole. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. As you embrace this truth, another quiet battle emerges, one that drains you in ways you may not even recognize until it begins to hollow you out. This leads us to our third point. Don't reveal the depth of your disappointments. Some wounds are too sacred, too tender, to be laid bare before those unprepared to honor them. Sharing your pain with those who cannot hold space for it is like exposing a raw injury to dust and debris. It risks contamination rather than healing. There comes a time when you must stop recounting the ways others have let you down. The promises they broke, the love they withheld, the moments they failed to show up. Not because you need to forget or pretend the pain didn't happen, but because your dignity cannot depend on being understood by those who caused the hurt. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that it's not things that disturb us, but our opinion of them. The path through pain is not denial or suppression but transmutation, turning wounds into wisdom without needing to display them for validation. When you make your pain your story, when you keep sharing it in hopes of relief or understanding, you risk anchoring it deeper within you. Instead of healing, it becomes your identity, a shadow that lingers, a narrative that defines you. Try this. Write a letter you'll never send. Pour into it every hurt, every unmet expectation, every moment you felt unseen or unvalued. Let the words flow without restraint. Name the betrayals, the silences, the hopes that were never fulfilled. Then keep it, burn it, or let it go. But don't speak it to those who cannot hold it. Those who weren't present for your pain won't be present for your explanations either. This isn't silence born of fear or shame. It's a deliberate choice to protect your truth, to preserve the sanctity of your heart. Your heart is a garden, and it needs clean soil to grow. You cannot keep planting in the rubble of what never was. If this reflection resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe and leave a comment with the phrase, "I choose my silence," along with the country you're listening from. There are more truths to uncover, and the deepest one is yet to come. Stay with me. Finally, we arrive at our fourth point. Don't apologize for living differently. This is a subtle but insidious trap, one that disguises itself as politeness, as a desire to avoid conflict or not to be a burden. It creeps in when you feel the need to justify your choices, whether it's your solitude, the rhythm of your days, or the way you've chosen to navigate your life. Stop explaining why you live as you do. Your life is not a mistake to be corrected, a puzzle to be solved, or a performance to be judged by others. It is yours, shaped by your wisdom, your experiences, and your inalienable right to define what brings you peace. Living differently, whether that means embracing solitude, prioritizing your own needs, or rejecting societal expectations, can feel like a quiet rebellion. It's a choice to honor your truth over the comfort of others. But too often, we soften this choice with apologies, with explanations, as if we owe the world a defense for being ourselves. You don't. Your life, with all its unique contours, is a testament to your resilience, your courage, and your capacity to choose meaning over conformity. Embrace it without apology, and let go of the need to make others comfortable with your choices. For decades, you've carried a handful of small, seemingly innocuous phrases like pebbles in your pocket, each one heavier than it appears. Sorry, I can't. Sorry, I'm not available. Sorry for putting myself first. On the surface, these words sound polite, even humble, but beneath them lies a quiet, insidious surrender to the expectations of others. Each apology is a tiny fracture in your autonomy, a reflex born from years of believing that living on your terms requires justification, as if your right to exist as an individual is something you must perpetually earn. The problem isn't your courtesy or your kindness. It's the lifetime you've spent apologizing for daring to prioritize yourself, as if every personal choice is a selfish act that demands explanation or absolution. This habit of apologizing often traces back to a deep-rooted conditioning that many women, especially those raised in traditional or collectivist cultures, know all too well. From childhood, you may have been taught that your value lies in your utility. How much you can give, how little you can ask for, and how seamlessly you can mold yourself to the needs of others. Perhaps you grew up in a family where love was intertwined with guilt, where being good meant putting everyone else first, always. You were praised for your selflessness, called the rock of the family, the one who held everything together. But over time, this role became a kind of invisibility. Your desires, dreams, and needs faded into the background, overshadowed by the relentless demands of others. You became a supporting character in your own story, existing primarily to serve, to soothe, to sacrifice. This conditioning doesn't just shape your actions, it shapes your identity. You learn to measure your worth by how much you can do for others, how little trouble you cause, and how well you keep the peace. But now, as you stand in the later chapters of your life, perhaps in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, you're beginning to feel the weight of this role. You're tired of saying yes when your heart aches to say no. You're weary of attending every family gathering where your presence is expected but your voice is ignored, of pouring your limited energy into solving other people's problems, of being the default caregiver for grandchildren, or the emotional anchor for everyone else's storms. And when you finally muster the courage to step back, to say, "I can't do this today," or "I need this time for myself," a wave of guilt crashes over you. Your freedom feels like a betrayal, a disruption of the unspoken contract you've lived by for so long. This guilt is a lie, but it's a powerful one, rooted in the fear that love is conditional, that you're only worthy of it if you're endlessly available, endlessly useful. A renowned psychologist once said that true inner peace comes from living in alignment with your values, not the expectations of others. But alignment is impossible when every step you take toward yourself is shadowed by an apology, as if choosing your path is a sin that requires forgiveness. Living differently after 60 isn't a betrayal of those you love. It's a victory for the person you've always been but were rarely allowed to become. It's a reclamation of the self you've buried under years of obligation, a self that deserves to breathe, to dream, to exist without explanation. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Yet this victory often comes with resistance. When you begin to set boundaries, to say no, to prioritize your well-being, some people in your life, family, friends, even those closest to you, may react with confusion or disapproval. They might say, "You've changed," or "You're not the same anymore," or most painfully, "You've become selfish." These words sting, not because they're true, but because they reveal a truth about the speaker. They're uncomfortable with your freedom. For years, they've relied on your availability, your sacrifice, and your willingness to put their needs above your own. Your boundaries disrupt their comfort, and their criticism is less about you and more about their inability to control you any longer. Understand this. When a woman stops being the ever-compliant caregiver, the always-available problem solver, it unsettles those who've grown accustomed to her sacrifice. Their disapproval isn't malicious, it's habit. They've built their lives around your selflessness, and your newfound autonomy challenges the status quo. But you don't owe anyone an apology for saying no. You don't need to justify resting, seeking silence, or craving a life with less chaos and fewer demands. This isn't a small life. It's a life that has earned the right to serenity, a life that deserves to unfold in peace after years of carrying the weight of others' expectations. Every time you apologize for living on your terms, you surrender a piece of your soul. And you've already given enough. True peace doesn't come from winning the approval of others. It comes from the quiet, unshakable respect you cultivate for yourself. This respect means refusing to explain your choices to those who aren't ready to hear them. At this stage of your life, if someone doesn't understand why you're setting boundaries or prioritizing your well-being, it's not your responsibility to make them understand. It's their responsibility to accept it. And if they can't, that's no longer your burden to carry. Your energy is too precious to waste on justifications that only serve to keep you small. This brings us to a critical truth that many women avoid confronting. Don't share your dreams with those who don't truly listen. There's a spark that ignites when you imagine something new for yourself, a course you want to take, a trip you long to embark on, a small business you dream of starting, or even a quiet hobby that brings you joy. This spark is fragile, a tender flame born from hope and courage, especially in a world that often tells women in their later years that their time for dreaming is over. But when you share these aspirations with the wrong people, that flame can be extinguished before it has a chance to grow. Imagine confiding in a friend or family member about your desire to learn a new skill, to travel somewhere you've never been, or to start a project that lights up your heart. You're seeking encouragement, a shared excitement, a moment of connection. But instead, you're met with skepticism. At your age, they might say, their tone dripping with doubt. Or perhaps they offer a dismissive laugh, a patronizing, "That's cute," or worst of all, silence. A silence that feels like rejection. These responses, even if unintended, land like heavy stones, crushing the delicate hope you've dared to nurture. Without realizing it, their words plant seeds of doubt in your mind. You start to question yourself. Is this foolish? Am I being unrealistic? Is it too late for me to try something new? This is how dreams die in later life. Not with a dramatic crash, but with quiet, insidious dismissals. Each lukewarm comment, each raised eyebrow, each moment of indifference chips away at your confidence. The frustration that follows isn't loud. It's a heavy, creeping fog that settles into your spirit. Your energy wanes, your days feel heavier, and you begin to convince yourself that it's safer to stay still, to expect nothing, to let your dreams fade into someday or never. You tell yourself it's practical, mature even, to let go of these childish desires. But deep down, you know the truth. It's not that life has stopped offering possibilities. It's that you've been sharing your possibilities with the wrong audience. A wise expert in personal growth once said, "The soul becomes what it thinks." If you pour your dreams into ears that don't value them, your soul begins to shrink, starved of the nourishment it needs to thrive. Every plan, no matter how small, is a seed that requires fertile ground to grow. When you plant it in a place of scorn, indifference, or apathy, it withers before it can take root. This realization is painful but necessary. Not everyone deserves to know your next step. Not everyone has the emotional maturity to understand that a woman in her 60s, 70s, or 80s can start anew. That age is not a barrier to reinvention but a testament to resilience. You don't need to convince others of your worth or your potential. Your job is to protect your spark, to nurture it in a space where it can grow. Choose wisely who you share your dreams with. Seek out those with open hearts and clear eyes. People who listen with curiosity, who celebrate your courage, who see your potential rather than your age. These are the ones who will fan your flame, who will remind you that your dreams are valid, no matter how modest or grand. And if you can't find those people, don't despair. Speak your dreams to yourself. Write them in a journal, whisper them in the quiet of your morning coffee, and declare them in the safety of your own heart. The first step isn't others believing in you. It's you believing in yourself. Your dreams, no matter how small they seem, are not frivolous. They're a reflection of your spirit, still alive and yearning for growth. They're a reminder that you are not done, that your story is still being written. If you choose to keep your dreams close until they're ready to bloom, that's not fear, it's wisdom. Respect is practiced in silence, too, and at this stage of your life, your energy is too precious to waste explaining what's already true within you. Don't look for your reflection in a broken mirror. Don't seek validation from those who only know how to take. What you dream of deserves care, and you are the first and most important guardian of that care. This leads to another subtle but corrosive habit: justifying your boundaries. Picture your life as a house, a sacred space that holds your thoughts, your energy, your essence. Now imagine that house with no doors, no locks, no boundaries. People walk in uninvited, take what they need, leave their chaos behind, and expect you to clean up the mess. They don't knock, don't ask permission, don't consider the toll their presence takes. They move through your space as if it's theirs, leaving you exhausted, confused, and wondering how you became public property. This is what happens when you live without boundaries. Your time, your energy, and your soul become resources for others to draw from, often without gratitude or reciprocity. Setting boundaries is an act of self-preservation, but for many women, it feels like an act of defiance. You say no to a request, a favor you don't have the energy for, a family event you don't want to attend, and the guilt creeps in like a thief. You feel the need to explain, to soften the blow, to make your no palatable. You decline an invitation, and you brace for judgment, as if your rest or your priorities need a defense. This guilt is often weaponized by those closest to you, wrapped in the guise of love or obligation. It's just one favor, they say, their tone sweet but insistent. You're the only one who can help. If you don't do it, who will? These words are a trap, designed to pull you back into the role of the selfless giver, the one who always says yes, even at her own expense. This manipulation is particularly insidious because it often comes from those you love, family, friends, and even your children. It's cloaked in affection, in the language of duty. You're the only one who understands me. We need you. It won't take long. But each time you give in, you lose something. A piece of your time, your energy, your peace. And the saddest part? The more you give, the less it's appreciated. People begin to expect your availability, to feel entitled to your time as if your life exists to serve theirs. The truth is harsh but necessary. You don't owe your entire life to anyone. You've already given so much: years of sleepless nights, unfinished dreams, silenced desires, all sacrificed for the sake of others. You've been the mother who stayed up late, the wife who smoothed over conflicts, the daughter who put her parents' needs first, the friend who listened without being heard. You've done it out of love, out of duty, out of habit. But now, in this season of your life, you're allowed to say, enough. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment on number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Justifying your boundaries only feeds the guilt that others use to manipulate you. It's a cycle that leaves you depleted, questioning your right to exist on your terms. And the consequences are real: burnout, resentment, even physical illness. Chronic stress from overextending yourself can manifest in high blood pressure, insomnia, or a weakened immune system. Your body keeps score, and it's pleading for you to listen. Picture yourself in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, if nothing changes. If you keep saying yes when you mean no, if you keep prioritizing everyone else's needs over your own, what will your life look like? Your body, your spirit, your joy? The image is sobering, but it's a necessary wake-up call. No one is coming to save you from this cycle. You must close the door yourself. Setting boundaries doesn't require a debate or an apology. It's a declaration of your worth, a quiet assertion that your time, your body, and your soul are not public property. Say no and mean it. Decline the invitation without a lengthy explanation. Rest without guilt. And if someone walks away because they can't accept your limits, let them go. Their departure reveals their motives. They were there for what you could give, not for who you are. True freedom begins the day you stop justifying your boundaries, the day you claim your dignity without negotiation. It's not comfortable at first. The silence that follows when you're no longer available to everyone can feel cold, even lonely. But that silence is where clarity begins. It's where you start to hear your voice again, perhaps for the first time in years. Finally, there's one last trap that lingers, even after you've begun to set boundaries and protect your dreams: the fear of growing old. This fear is universal, yet it's rarely spoken aloud. It's the quiet dread of decline, physical, mental, or social. It's the fear of being forgotten, of losing relevance, of facing the inevitability of time. This fear is human, natural, and even inevitable. But what makes it dangerous isn't its existence. It's the way it can silently shape your life if you let it. When you confess this fear to the wrong people, it becomes a weight that pulls you down. You might share your worries about aging, hoping for understanding, only to be met with pity, avoidance, or platitudes that dismiss your vulnerability. "Oh, you're still young at heart." Or, "Don't think about that, just enjoy life." Instead of feeling supported, you feel smaller, as if your fears confirm some unspoken truth about your diminishing worth. This is why you must guard this fear carefully. Don't declare it as a surrender, as if growing older is a defeat that defines you. Instead, face it privately, in the quiet of your own heart. If you believe in a higher power, bring it to your prayers. If you don't, have an honest conversation with yourself. Write it down, cry it out, but don't let it become the lens through which you see your life. The fear of aging can become a silent master, dictating how you dress, in muted colors to avoid attention, how you speak, softly, to avoid seeming too much, and how you shrink yourself to fit into a world that often dismisses older women. It whispers that it's too late to try new things, that your desires are impractical, and that you should be grateful for relationships that no longer serve you. Worst of all, it convinces you to tolerate treatment you would never have accepted in your younger years, all under the guise of maturity or gratitude. But this is a lie. Aging is not a sentence. It's a stage, one that can be lived with vitality, courage, and purpose. The light of this stage doesn't come from pretending you're younger than you are or denying the realities of time. It comes from walking with your age unapologetically, from embracing it as part of your journey rather than a barrier to it. When you feed your fear of aging, it grows into a shadow that dims your decisions, your relationships, and your dreams. But when you acknowledge it without letting it define you, it becomes fuel for living more fully in the present. You are not too old to begin again. You are not too old to chase a dream, to learn a new skill, or to redefine your life on your terms. The woman in her 60s, 70s, or 80s who dares to start over is not foolish. She is a force. She is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and to the truth that growth and reinvention have no expiration date. Consider the story of a woman who, at 75, decided to take up painting after decades of caring for others. Her first brushstrokes were tentative, her confidence shaky, but she persisted. Today, her small studio is filled with vibrant canvases, each one a testament to her courage to create and to begin again. Or the woman who, at 68, enrolled in a community college course, ignoring the raised eyebrows of younger classmates. She graduated with a certificate in hand and a renewed sense of purpose in her heart. These women didn't deny their age. They embraced it as a foundation for new possibilities. Protect your dreams, set your boundaries, and face your fears in silence. Your life, at every stage, is yours to shape. The only permission you need is your own. And when you stop apologizing for who you are, when you stop justifying your choices, when you stop confessing your fears to those who can't hold them, something extraordinary happens. You begin to live in alignment with your true self. This is not a small victory. It's a revolution. It's the moment you step into the fullness of who you are, unapologetically, and claim the life you've earned. And there you have it. 9 truths that, when kept close, can transform the way you carry yourself through life. These aren't just lessons. They're choices to honor your story, protect your peace, and live with unshakable dignity. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned from this video that you're ready to put into practice? Maybe it's choosing silence about your pain, setting a boundary without justifying it, or embracing your solitude as a source of strength. Drop it in the comments below, and let's inspire each other to live with intention. If this video resonated with you, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insights to help you live powerfully. Until next time, choose your silence, choose your strength, and keep moving forward.